Dallas, Georgia. It's 3 p.m. Samantha Lee and her neighbors are gathered like they do every school day at the neighborhood bus stop, waiting to pick up their young children.
It's a large bus stop. A lot of kids get off at this bus stop, and a lot of parents are there waiting for their kids.
But today, there's a substitute driver, a middle-aged woman who is not letting the children off the bus. Concerned, Samantha begins recording as her 9-year-old daughter Chloe and her 5-year-old son Carter are inside.
It was like, why was she not letting the kids off the bus?
What the hell is she doing?
Who is she talking to?
The driver looks agitated as she shouts into the bus's radio, and it worries the parents.
I'm feeling very confused and scared, to be honest with you.
And now, a mundane daily routine starts to get uncomfortable when all of a sudden,
Come on, baby.
the driver takes off.
What the Hey! Hey!
When the bus stops at the end of the street, Samantha gets in front of it to prevent the driver from leaving again.
Absolutely not! Did somebody call the police yet?
Samantha and the other parents feel helpless as they wait for police to arrive.
Right, what's going on? I have a situation.
Okay.
Where I have kids that don't have any documents on their... Okay, my son is...
But they've been doing it for the same routine.
She said that some kids didn't have documentation to get off of the bus, but my daughter didn't need documentation to get off of the bus. She was 9 years old.
While the driver claims to be following protocol, the parents are frustrated because she won't release any kids, even children whose parents are there in person to meet them.
Okay, what's going on?
The cops are on their way.
Okay.
The driver eventually opens the door, and a few of the worried parents rush on to retrieve their kids.
Chloe, get off the bus!
But things quickly turn ugly when the driver allegedly pushes one of the parents, and the parent slaps her.
Are you nuts?
Clearly stunned, the driver suddenly slams the door shut and puts her foot on the gas.
She definitely put the kids' safety at risk. There were so many things in that moment that was going through my head. I was very pissed off. You don't keep a child away from their parents.
An older sibling of a child inside the bus chases after it and jumps through an open window.
Open the door! Open the door!
I went into Mama Bear mode and stopped the bus again by standing in front of it again a second time. And that time I wasn't gonna move until the police got there.
Ma'am, please let our kids off the bus!
At this point, she wasn't opening the door again. So in order to get their kids off the bus, they were pulling the children off of the bus from the side windows.
Samantha's oldest child, Chloe, is among the lucky students who are able to get off the bus.
How did you get off? Where's Kennedy? We got out the window. Up over there.
It was a completely different type of relief I never knew that I needed when my children got off of the bus.
Thankfully, police arrive moments later.
Nuts. I have it on video from the beginning, sir. She didn't want to let the kids off the bus.
After speaking privately with the driver, police finally release the remaining children to their much relieved parents. Police charge both the driver and the parent who slapped her with simple assault. After an investigation, the school fires the driver for numerous violations that jeopardized student safety. While the incident is traumatic for all those involved, Samantha says there's a silver lining to the story.
This situation has definitely brought our neighborhood together. We protect each other's kids, and we all had each other's backs that day.
And despite the ordeal of the day, Samantha won't let it change her family.
You would think that I wouldn't allow my children to ride the bus again after this crazy incident. But yes, they are back on the bus with their original driver. I just think this was like a freak accident. I don't think this would ever happen again.
We're in Orlando, Florida. A man staggers to his neighbor's door, gasping for breath. He's middle school teacher Billy Bass, alone working from home, and he needs help fast.
I thought to myself, my only hope is to run to my neighbors.
Billy's neighbor and friend of 14 years is Karen Aranda. Luckily, she's at home with her family.
I've known Karen and Junior for just a long time. Kids went to school together.
We were sitting around the table and we heard this pounding knock on the door. It was actually scary. And when I opened the door and I saw Billy's face, immediately I knew that there was something wrong with him.
You're talking?
It was just like an instinct. I turned him around. I wrapped my arms around him. When I pushed into his stomach the first time, nothing happened.
I know I only had a few seconds left. I'm gonna die.
So I squeezed him for the second time.
Did it come out? Yeah, it came out.
And a big old piece of meat. I mean, it was a good size of meat. It flew out like a cork out of a bottle, about 3 or 4 feet in the grass.
Get water, bring water. Hey, call 911. No? I get right down.
Karen has cleared the blockage by performing abdominal thrusts, also known as a Heimlich maneuver.
The relief of just having air was something you take for granted. Like I could breathe.
My son said, oh, it came out. And then he turned around. I knew that he was okay. Like his blood started flowing and he started breathing.
You said my life. Oh my God, Billy.
We hugged each other and I was just like very, very emotional because I couldn't imagine what could have happened if I wouldn't have opened the door.
Saved my life. Oh my God.
At that moment, you think, wow, I could have died. Somebody that was trained in CPR, first aid, makes all the difference in the world. Curly, the Latina Wonder Woman, she was so strong.
I'm in the dental field. I'm an office manager, and you have to be CPR certified.
Tender meat. Holy damn.
After his ordeal, Billy resolves to take a first aid course himself.
I am YMCA certified trained now. I want to make sure that I'm prepared as well to help my neighbor.
And it's made the neighbors even better friends as they promote first aid awareness together.
I borrowed beer from her before. I borrowed tools, but this time she saved my life. So it was the ultimate, neighbor, gratitude. She's my angel.
It's the middle of the night, and the men filming this video have just been woken up by a neighbor revving the engine of his muscle car.
Where are the cops? It's been going on for 10 minutes.
The neighbor seems to be pushing his car to the absolute limit. Until...
Oh my God!
The car is now in danger of exploding, so the man wisely bails out. But then, to neighbors' amazement, he goes right back to the burning car.
Hey, get away from it, bro.
I'm getting out of here. Let's do it.
Finally, the man comes to his senses and stumbles away just in time.
That would explode. Yeah. I feel like we need to back dude.
Oh my God!
That was the sound of a tire exploding on the car parked in the next spot. It's a warning sign that the fire is spreading across the parking lot and getting closer to people's homes. Panicked neighbors have dialed 911. And when the fire department arrive, they are fortunately able to stop the blaze from spreading much further.
This turned from a noise complaint to, oh my God, I need 911.
The man who started it all turned out to be intoxicated and was treated for second-degree burns to his foot.
So much for trying to go to bed early.
He was later charged with a misdemeanor for negligent burning and endangering the safety of persons or property. The charges were later dropped, but his car was completely totaled, as was the one parked next to it, which, unfortunately for him, belonged to his girlfriend's mom. When Kaylee Day, who lives with her husband and their young children in Houston, Texas, witnesses something on her doorbell camera, it changes her life forever.
My husband and I were the typical suburban happy couple, married, had kids, until the last year when we were going through couples therapy, just working through marital issues that we had that seemed to affect a lot of other married couples. Nothing like deal breaking, but I do get these gut feelings. He was doing something shady that I didn't know about.
When Kaylee's son is sick, her husband suggests that she take their daughter on a planned family vacation, and he stay home with their son.
Around 10 p.m., the doorbell camera app goes off. And you know, when you first get the notification, it's just a picture. And so all I saw was 2 bodies. So I called them and I said, hey, there's 2 creeps on the front porch. You might want to go check that out. And I start to watch the video. And I see my husband and his coworker on the front porch. My stomach dropped, my heart sank. I didn't really know what to think besides what the heck is going on in my house. And I realized that it was him and his mistress on our front porch, and they were kissing. He grabbed her butt and then said, and I'm just really angry and really sad. I was disgusted, and I feel like I don't know the person that I even married. So I immediately called him back, and I said, it's you and your coworker on the doorbell camera. He denied it for a good 5 to 10 minutes till he finally confessed that she was over.
What's more, when Kaylee looks back at the door cam footage, she sees that her husband tries to cover up his lover's arrival.
He won't admit that he deleted the clip, but he had to have, because it picked up movement coming towards our front door, and then all of a sudden the door opens and closes, but you don't see anybody come in or out. So I think that's the section that he deleted.
Unfortunately for him, he gets sappy and sloppy when his girlfriend leaves. And now Kaylee is divorcing her 39-year-old husband.
I'm 28, so I'm still young. I have time to find somebody else who deserves me. But I feel like I got the best revenge, because when I uploaded the footage online, I was expecting to get maybe 5 views, and I have amassed over 7 million views on it. So I kind of feel like karma worked pretty instantly this time.
In Commerce City, Colorado, a family is chatting on their front lawn when the twin sisters living across the street begin yelling racial slurs at them.
Fat Mexican bitches! Compared to me, who are you?
According to witnesses, both sisters are drunk. One of them allegedly attacked one of the neighbors earlier in the day, retreating across the street when the victim called the police.
Dumbass! Oh my God, you can't even say dumbass. I can't get my pants up. You cheap ass! Yeah, they were, and they're coming here. Who do you think they're going to be? Me! What is wrong with you? You're drunk. I'm not. Who's going to jail? You are. You came to my property.
Despite the sisters screaming at them in stereo, the situation serves as a good reminder that recording neighborhood conflicts creates not just viral videos, but evidence as well.
But for real, because you tried to touch her, y'all are behind the cross the street. You probably all did crime.
They'll figure it out.
When the police arrive, the twins immediately try to spin their version of the events.
These people she just pulled my hair and slapped me in the face. That girl right there! I could literally walk there.
By now, police are familiar with their antics, having already gotten reports the sisters were drunk and out of control outside of their home before attacking their neighbors.
This is not looking good for you. Let me just tell you that right now. Go wait at your house.
It's not good because...
Go wait at your house.
I defend myself.
Okay, go wait at your house.
I'm not going to.
You talk crap to them one more time, you're going to jail.
They attacked me one more time. Old fat Mexican bitches!
What were they fighting?
I'm not asking for your permission.
First they start yelling stuff.
We're not
As the neighbors confirm the victim's version of the events, the twins are still running their mouths.
Congratulations, I hope y'all are on parole. We're gonna live here for the rest of the year. Y'all are too fat for parole, so I wouldn't bet that.
With predictable results.
Looking real good for you.
Yeah.
After watching the recorded evidence, police arrest the sisters. Each is charged with 2 counts of bias-motivated crime and 1 count of third-degree trespass. The family and neighbors thank the local police department for their quick and helpful response.
Looking real good for you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
No matter the neighborhood, there's nothing more important than keeping children safe. And at a local PTA meeting in Rocky Point, Long Island, parents and students alike have gathered to discuss ways to do just that.
I'm considerably larger than you, okay?
But after one high school senior finishes telling officials how he's against armed guards in school, a man calls him over.
If something happened, if I decided to attack you, it would take the cops 3 to 5 minutes to come here. Probably 10 if the traffic's bad.
The parent, whose 2 daughters attend the school, has a different opinion on the need for armed guards. And to prove his point, he does something alarming.
What are you gonna do now?
The man pulls out a switchblade, taking the teen off guard.
What are you gonna do now?
Stop it!
Shocked by the man's actions, the neighbors are unsure how to handle the situation as the man holds the knife in the air.
I just walked into the building with this. It's not a gun, but I can do a lot of damage with it.
His way of persuasion does not go over well with the students and other parents in attendance.
That's illegal.
You can't pull a switchblade out on a kid in school. That's insane. What do you think, a guy with a gun? No, that's completely illegal. This is why we need security.
To defuse the situation, the man is escorted out of the building. The story is covered by multiple news outlets, and while school officials call the man's actions inappropriate, they don't believe he intends to harm anyone, proving that bringing a knife to a PTA meeting isn't the sharpest of ideas.
What are you gonna do now?
Stop it!
We might all breathe a sigh of relief that the wearing of masks is no longer dividing neighborhoods.
Just put on a mask and get it over with.
But for a while during the pandemic, the changing rules pits neighbor against neighbor.
I'm a grown woman that owns a business on this street.
In the laid-back beachside community of Manhattan Beach, California, 2 locals prepare to eat their lunch as a couple wearing masks walk by.
Y'all need to be wearing masks.
I'm gonna eat a burrito with my mask on.
Neither of the men are wearing masks, but one does have a body camera strapped to his belt that's recording.
We're on the other side of the fence. We don't believe in this stuff.
No, that's cool. But well, no, man, just keep that all to yourself, you know?
I hear you. It's okay. It's all right.
While the local recording tries calming down the couple in masks, the other local in the black shirt has a more blunt response.
What are you looking at me for? I didn't say you.
Oh, no, don't get hit.
Until words aren't the only thing exchanged.
Hey, Matt. Oh.
According to the man with the body cam, the masked woman throws her coffee at them, causing the one in the black shirt to retaliate.
You know, hey, off me.
After a brief struggle, the masked man lets go, but the woman still clings onto the local shirt.
Hey, son, get her off me. Get your girl off me.
They finally separate, but tempers are still running high.
You shouldn't have thrown the drink in his face.
I don't give a
You should not have thrown the drink. That was.
As they continue to argue, the masked man calls the police.
Hello, 911. I've just been assaulted on Manhattan Beach.
What are you gonna do? Tell the cops you threw coffee at me?
The masked man gives a description of the current situation.
You punched me in the face. I'm bleeding out of my mouth right now and my nose.
You deserve it, though.
While the local heckles his 911 call.
You can't throw hot coffee at people.
You can't punch people in the face.
The police soon arrive, and each party gives their side of the story.
All right, what's going on?
We were sitting here eating our burritos. These 2 didn't like that we weren't wearing masks, and they threw coffee at us.
And once it's determined the coffee is thrown before the punches,
She was all over me. She was going for my arm.
the couple in masks offer an apology. No charges are filed, and the 2 men can finally go back to their lunches, where the only thing covering their mouths is their food.
At least they didn't destroy the burritos.
Those looking to escape the busy city life of Chicago can find some peace and quiet in the neighborhood of Morris, Illinois, which is exactly what Dana Allsworth and her family had in mind when they relocated here.
We came up across this neighborhood, and it's just so quiet and pristine. You can hear the cows mooing from the nearby farm, and it's just a perfect setting where I wanted to raise my family.
But Dana's dreams are quickly dashed when she meets the woman next door.
My neighbor is 59 years old and lives by herself. We always were leery just because you could just tell the house was unkept and there was a lot of yelling. Cops were always there. So we kind of just tried to keep our distance.
Things only go downhill from there. Dana's neighbor seemingly gets upset because she feels that the trees lining the yard are an eyesore and are in turn devaluing the woman's land.
She decided to take it upon herself to take down our property. Like, she was cutting trees down, she was cutting the bushes down, she was blowing all the leaves into our yard.
You cannot put this
Send it out to make it look halfway decent.
I'm gonna go get a leaf blower and blow all this right
I
here
will
away.
break up all that when I'm disrespectful.
My blood was boiling. My heart rate had to have been like 500 miles per hour.
Don't step on our property.
Stay the off my property. Don't ever come over here. If you come over here, I will call the police and have you arrested.
After her neighbor's behavior and anti-Semitic remarks, Dana installs security cameras to try and catch her neighbor in the act, but she alleges that it only makes things worse.
She would stare at us through the windows. She would scream at my son. When I woke up the one morning and I saw a gun in the window, it absolutely blew my mind. I never imagined in my life that I would be living through this nightmare with a neighbor.
A month later, things come to a head when Dana is home alone with her 3-year-old daughter, and she catches her neighbor lurking on her property. And this time, she brings something with her, a hammer.
Immediately, my heart rate escalates and I prepare myself for the worst. I didn't know what she was capable of. She could attack me with the hammer. She could throw the hammer at me. My husband's at work. I knew I had no backup.
But Dana's neighbor has her sights set on something else. Her security camera.
Quit videotaping.
With the damage done, Dana's neighbor retreats off her property. But to Dana's relief, her camera captures the proof that she needs.
I remember actually getting happy because I finally got her. I finally caught her in the act.
Her neighbor is arrested for disorderly conduct and trespassing, but to Dana's dismay, she is released on bail.
Honestly, we talked about selling our house. I tried to never think about somebody harming children, but just the way she would scream at them, just to think that my kids had to live through this experience. As an adult, we can handle it. But to think that my kids had to endure this and be so scared to even play in their own yard, it's just wrong. It's wrong that somebody can do that. Completely wrong.
Fearing for their safety while waiting for their day in court, Dana and her husband built a 6-foot fence along their property line.
It was such a relief having that fence. I felt peace. I finally was able to enjoy my backyard without feeling like I was being stared at every second.
Dana's persistence pays off when the neighbor does something unexpected. She puts her house on the market, and Dana drops the charges against her neighbor since she will no longer be a nuisance. Even better, the home next door is purchased by a family with young children.
I was so happy. This house is just perfect in every way, and it's our forever home. I'm so glad I didn't give it up because now I have 2 wonderful neighbors, and I can already tell we're gonna have an amazing, amazing future in this neighborhood.
We may not have eyes in the back of our heads, but with the rise of home security cameras, homeowners now have eyes in the back of their yards. And in some cases, eyes in the back of their neighbors' yards too. Leaving some homeowners worried they may be unwitting co-stars on their neighbors' security cameras. In a quiet suburb outside of Ackworth, Georgia, a door cam catches a man ringing his neighbor's front door.
Hi, how you doing?
Hey, I'm fine. Who are you?
I'm your neighbor.
They've never met, But the man owns the house directly behind her home, and their backyards face each other.
I was wondering if we could discuss those cameras that are pointing towards our house.
The neighbor is referring to a set of cameras mounted to the back of the woman's house.
They're not towards your house, they're towards my pool.
But we don't know that.
Well, I know that, and that's all that matters.
No, it does not.
Yes, it
I'm
does.
not.
She claims the cameras only record her pool area, but the neighbor thinks they might go farther.
Ma'am, I'm asking you.
What is your problem?
There's not supposed to be any cameras in the backyard. That's your safe place. You can have cameras in the front of your house.
You have a lot of nerve telling us where to have my cameras.
They're pointing towards my house.
Call the cops and see if it's illegal. I don't think so.
Seeing no resolution to the matter,
Sorry, we're not moving our cameras.
the neighbor takes her advice and calls the police. A short time later, they arrive at the woman's house, where they inspect her backyard cameras and also review her footage to determine whether the neighbor's yard can be seen. And their verdict? Turns out the woman's cameras pick up only her deck and pool area. A police report is filled out, but the cameras can stay put. And while these neighbors may never see eye to eye,
They're not towards your house, they're towards my pool.
they still have to live back to back.
We're not moving our cameras.
In neighborhoods all across the country, nothing is as hotly contested as snagging a prime parking spot. Something that this St. Paul resident named Cynthia, seen in her glasses, learns as she cleans off her car after a recent snowstorm. Cynthia is parked in front of her neighbor's house, and the woman, who is off to work as a local security guard, is quick to confront her about it.
You continue to block this walkway, and come Monday, I'm gonna have you cited and towed.
Take your information, go back
Take my
inside.
information, I'll talk
You know
to every
what, the
cop in
police-
St. Paul, their personal friends.
You know-
There's a police department picture hanging on my living room.
Because of a recent storm, parking is limited, and Cynthia believes that she has every right to park here, especially since it's a public street. But the woman next door insists that parking in front of a walkway is illegal and unneighborly.
Stop blocking the walkway so we can get to our house! Why is that so hard for you to comprehend?
Why is this
It's a little bit of respect to leave this much walkway open so we can get to the front door.
Okay, I'm done with this
I'm not on your side blocking your.
Not to be left out, the mother of the woman with the parking complaint chimes in.
I was listening when you were talking to the cop.
Get in the house! I got this!
In an attempt to explain the situation, Cynthia approaches the mother in the red coat. Her neighbor gets between the pair to keep the peace, but then suddenly loses her cool.
I got definitely don't walk up. You hear me?
In a shocking move, the neighbor lifts the woman off her feet and pushes her to the ground, and then doubles down with a threat.
Don't you dare my family! You're with the wrong family! Don't! Stay in the street if you're that threatened!
Alarmed by the altercation, nearby neighbors who are recording the entire ordeal call the cops. When the police arrive, they deliver Cynthia with the validation she needs. It is in fact legal for her to park in front of her neighbor's walkway. And while Cynthia decides not to press charges, she steers clear of her neighbor's spot in hopes her temper will finally cool.
You don't want to back up, I have the right to make you back up. Don't you dare my family! You're with the wrong family!
Deptford is a quiet suburb in New Jersey, and where George Nagus, the man driving the car in this video, believes would be a perfect place to settle down and raise a family. Even the fake blue palm trees in his next-door neighbor's yard don't put him off spending his entire savings on his first house. However, after he moves in, a dispute with the same neighbor over the property boundary threatens to derail his new life.
Don't come over my side anymore.
Where that post is my property line?
No, your
Just step back.
your property line is back there.
You don't know where the property line is? You do it again. I had a surveyor on here. You can try to tape me all you want. I really don't care.
Where is your surveyor?
Don't worry about it.
Show me the markers.
I have to show you. I have to show you.
The neighbor is claiming the fence line is inaccurate, and the caution tape is the actual property line.
You don't know who you're with.
Okay, coward.
Well, come on over and meet me in the street if I'm a coward, punk. Meet me in the street. Let's go.
You see your...
Let's go.
You
and
see...
me, let's go, punk.
You see your fence?
You call me a coward? Let's go.
You see your fence? Don't come on... Don't call...
Come over there right now.
Now you're trespassing.
Come right on my property.
Now you're trespassing. Boom.
Property right here.
You're
right
trespassing.
Here's my property line. Right here. Come on. Call the cops if I'm trespassing.
And in fact, in the past 2 years, George has called the police at least 6 times.
Okay.
You're
Who jumped over whose fence?
This is my property, dude. I'm a little bitch.
Keep acting like that.
Who can argue with the neighbor who invents his own property line dance? Definitely not George. He can barely contain his laughter.
You ain't gonna move me at all. I'll stay right here all day.
You stay there. I got all day too.
Okay, good.
In no mood to back down, the neighbor starts hammering in post where he thinks the boundary should be.
Bash you.
Now you're threatening me.
That's your head right there. See it going in the ground?
Now you're threatening me. That will be showed to the prosecutor.
Oh, you just shut up.
While most disputes are settled on the local township level, this one goes to court.
That post will be ripped out.
Okay, show your ass.
Turns out that George owns more than he thinks, and the neighbor is forced to move his fence 3 feet back. The judge issues a no-contact order to prevent any further harassment.
See you later, girlfriend.
This truce holds for a while. But recently, the neighbor is seen recklessly firing a BB gun in his yard, and George reports him to the cops. They don't press charges, but this local war rages on.
I'm a little bitch.
On a beach just north of Winnipeg, Canada, one mom is experiencing anything but fun in the sun when a neighboring parent takes issue with her daughter's choice of swimwear.
What are you saying?
What am I saying? I'm saying don't let your daughter show her ass cheeks around my 4-year-old son.
Okay, because?
That's what I'm saying, because she's a 13-year-old kid and I don't want her showing her ass around my son that's 4 years old.
Okay, she's wearing a
What kind of mother
swimsuit.
are you to let your daughter wear a thong and show her ass cheeks around a 4-year-old
She's wearing a swimsuit.
She's wearing a thong.
Okay, that's your problem and your son's problem. So take your son and go where?
Get out of here. Like, it's my problem. It's gonna be your problem right away.
Uneasy with the woman's words, the mom continues to record the bizarre interaction.
Well, okay.
Your video's gonna do anything?
Okay, that's for my safety. I'm doing video for my safety.
The only thing your safety is gonna show that you're a mother that's letting your 13-year-old daughter show her ass.
That's your opinion. That's totally fine.
You just off now?
And while the outraged neighbor seems to draw the line at revealing beachwear, it appears that threats of physical violence are fair game.
Wait, let me get my kids ready and then I'm gonna knock you out, so stay there, okay?
Okay.
But before things can come to blows, the woman's friend does the neighborly thing and extends an olive branch.
Like, I'm sorry that I agree she kind of overreacted. Just a bathing suit. Maybe we should just distance ourselves from each other.
Then a fellow beachgoer also defends the woman recording.
What's the problem? I'm just saying my son does need to stare at her ass.
But,
so if you had a 2-year-old or 3-year-old son, would you like your son?
Okay.
It's a beach, okay then.
Okay, just forget it.
Yeah, forget it.
Seeing that she's outnumbered, the nitpicky neighbor drops her defenses, ending this battle of neighborhood beachgoers for now.
Wait, let me get my kids ready and then I'm gonna knock you out, so stay there, okay?
Okay.
Witnessing a neighbor's love life can be a dramatic experience. From the highest highs, like a moonlit dance on a rooftop, to the lowest lows, like breaking up in front of the neighbor's cat. But sometimes, breakups can be a matter of life or death.
Oh my God.
2 construction workers are witnessing a couple's fiery breakup in a multi-unit building. The man behind the camera is working for the neighbors across the street. When he hears the couple shouting, he starts recording.
She about to hit him, bro. Oh, he said he gonna beat out of her. Oh my God, he just threw water on her. Going down.
Despite being doused with water, the woman's temper continues to flare. That's the downstairs neighbor. And now even she is being dragged into the drama. She leaves the porch and it would seem the confrontation ends. But things are about to really heat up.
She just lit the trash can on fire, dumped it in the living room. She's about to burn the house down, dude.
While the men aren't recording, the woman drags a trash can through the front door and shockingly lights it on fire inside the house.
I cannot actually believe it. And she's sitting there just chilling.
She's also taken the time to pull up a chair and grab a book to watch her handiwork.
Oh my God. This is now turned into a serious thing.
The men have just noticed the downstairs neighbor. She's trapped in the flaming house and needs help immediately.
Get out of the house! It's on fire! Hurry! Come on, hurry, grab your stuff!
The alleged arsonist flees the scene before firefighters show up. The fire is now totally out of control, and the witnesses can do nothing but watch the home completely burn to the ground.
Oh my God, it's got worse. Oh my God, it's getting big.
Despite firefighters' best efforts, the multi-unit house is completely destroyed.
Oh my God.
Luckily, nobody is injured.
The roof just fell.
But 47-year-old Gail Mitwali is later arrested and charged with first and second-degree attempted murder, first-degree arson, and first-degree assault. She is still awaiting trial.
Oh my God.
It's 8 a.m. in Reading, Pennsylvania, and Deborah Marie is getting ready to go to work.
Reading, Pennsylvania is a very, very great place to live. I recently purchased a home, so while I was getting renovated, I was staying with a relative of mine. I normally park right in front of where we live, but because I got home at like 1 in the morning, there was absolutely no parking.
So Deborah parked on the yellow line across the street. But the next morning, a neighbor claims Deborah has parked too close to her car.
What makes you different?
I don't care.
What makes you different than me?
What makes me different than you?
Yes.
The fact that I've lived here for 20
Okay, and I live over there and I pay rent as well.
If I knew that it was a problem, I would have never parked in front of her home to avoid, any confrontations. But at that point, I realized that she was also parked illegally on a yellow line as well, in front of her own home. I guess she just thought that she was exempt from the laws.
Aren't you late for work? And you don't need to park on the yellow line either.
I took out my phone because she just felt way too entitled, so it just escalated.
She doesn't need to park here. I don't know where
Look, she's on the yellow line. I'm on the yellow line. Slim, go over there. What do you see? Both of us parked on the yellow line. But because she lives here, exactly, you're not supposed to park here either. But because she lives there,
don't park here.
Don't
park up against my
Please
car.
stay 6 feet away. Coronavirus. You are a Karen. Back away.
She charged towards me.
Back away.
And my reflexes, they're just too fast. And my arm extended and she flew back.
Call the cops. I got it on camera. I got it on camera.
My head is open.
I got it on camera. I got it on camera, so go ahead. I could call the cops, or you could call the cops, and we could show them the footage.
When I pushed the woman and she fell, at that moment I was very scared. I'm not even gonna lie, because when she got up, there was blood. So I'm like, call the cops. At that point, because I knew that I had it on camera, and the proof is in the pudding. You can see her charging towards me.
Why are you near me? And I put my hand out. Why are you near? You're still coming near me.
You're near me.
You're on the yellow line too. She has to be to work and she's starting ruckus.
I have to be at work and I'm starting ruckus.
Yes.
You're right.
Yes.
Now I have a lump on my head with blood.
So we both gonna get a ticket.
I did not think that was the end of it. She grabbed her daughter.
What is your problem? What is your mom's problem or your aunt's problem or your grandma's problem? She's yelling at
3 inches from her bumper.
She's on the yellow line as well. She's scolding me for being on the yellow line, and she's on the yellow line.
She just said a couple of words and then went back inside. After that, that's when the cops were called and the cops came.
The police arrive, but no arrests are made.
The cop was like, let me see the video. I didn't get a ticket. He did give me a warning, and he said next time, don't go around doing stuff like that because she could have got severely hurt. Whenever I go over to my relative's house, clearly see that she's still parking on the yellow line.
You are a Karen.
My perspective on neighbors, avoid any confrontation. Respect thy neighbor. Just respect.
A quiet Sunday evening in the suburbs is suddenly gripped by panic. A mom can't believe what she is seeing.
All these cars just waiting because there is a freaking Bengal tiger boom in this yard.
Neighbors are feverishly messaging each other to ask where the tiger comes from or who it belongs to. It seems to have appeared out of nowhere.
And this dude needs to be careful. Holy cow.
With their children locked behind doors, the woman dials 911. Then she recognizes one fearless neighbor as an off-duty sheriff's deputy. He is attempting to hold back the man-eater at gunpoint.
Oh my gosh, he's gonna shoot it. He's gonna shoot it.
But the tiger keeps on coming.
What the heck? Why is there a tiger?
Suddenly, a man appears out of frame, and he's attracting the tiger's attention. He's claiming to be the tiger's owner.
Get the f back inside. I don't know who the f this is. Get the f back inside.
Oh.
To the neighbor's relief, the man claiming to be the tiger's owner is able to lure it into his vehicle and drive away. Police catch up with him. He reveals the animal is 9 months old, named India, and being kept illegally right under neighbors' noses, just 2 doors down from the mom who filmed this video.
Oh my gosh.
India is given a new home at an animal sanctuary in Murchison, Texas. Called Black Beauty Ranch, it is run by the Humane Society of the United States, which is lobbying for legislation that would prohibit big cats from being kept as pets. It's an ordinary Tuesday afternoon in Springfield, Tennessee. Jeremiah Payne, his wife, and their 5-year-old daughter are out for a family walk when the girl accidentally drops a candy wrapper on the street. A neighbor comes running out of his home to confront them, so Jeremiah starts recording.
Yeah, it's her candy. I apologize. It fell out.
Get on your knees, put your hands behind your back.
According to Jeremiah, the neighbor berates them for littering and claims to be a cop. But when Jeremiah asks for his name and badge number, the neighbor suddenly gets physical.
Let go of my phone, man. What are you doing?
And all I did was ask your name and badge number.
Am I gonna have a problem with you?
It's not clear why the neighbor is behaving in this way, but he is not happy.
The is wrong with you, dude? Get in.
We're just trying to watch you, folks.
Guys, please.
We're just
You.
As the situation is getting even more tense, the neighbor calls the police.
I need an officer.
Get the away from me. Stay away from me.
I would just like to watch you, folks.
No, we're leaving.
No, you're not going in.
You're not a cop to detain me.
For the police officer.
You are not a cop. Hey, he's trying to kidnap me. Help!
Yeah.
Help!
10 minutes later, the police arrive.
I'm not going to jail, dude. I didn't do anything wrong.
The neighbor goes over to explain his side of the story, and then the cops come to speak with Jeremiah and his wife.
So I want to press charges on him. I have it on video. Would you like to see it?
After watching the video, the cop consults with the neighbor, and then they approach Jeremiah.
Mr. Payne, is it all right if he speaks with you for a moment?
As long as you stand here while he does.
Yes, sir, of course.
Jeremiah has no clue what the man is about to say.
I'm not trying to hurt you. Don't want to scare you. I'm trying to be man enough and apologize, which is a hard thing for cops to do. I just didn't like the litter in my yard. That's
She didn't mean to drop it, but to go to that extent because I pulled out my phone and asked you for your name and badge number, really? Come on now. That's being a tyrant.
100%, you're right, and I apologize. I'll extend my hand to you if you're man enough to shake it.
Oh, I'm man enough to shake your hand.
Alright.
Is it alright if we leave it at that, sir?
Yeah. I'm still gonna post a video though. I mean,
that's your legal right. I'm
yeah.
not gonna stop you from doing that.
When the video is published online, it receives 50,000 views. Jeremiah has not filed any charges, and he and his family have recently moved to Kentucky, where they hope to live a stress-free life.
Get the away from me! Stay away from me!
Don't think you can be above the law. Am I clear?
No, say it again.
You cannot think you're above the law.
How am I above the law?
According to the man behind the camera, when he parks his truck, he forgets to turn his wheels toward the curb, which could lead to the vehicle rolling down the steep hill. In San Francisco, failing to do so can result in a ticket, but the elderly man seems to take it personally.
Your car's being towed for breaking the law.
Hey, I didn't turn my wheel either.
When another neighbor chimes in and admits he also parked incorrectly, the man takes issue with him too.
Are you backing him or me?
I'm just letting you know.
Both of you can stay right there.
All right, I'm not going nowhere.
Uneasy with the situation, the man recording jumps back in his truck, but before he can take off, the neighbor reappears and blocks his way.
Excuse me, sir, I'm trying to leave. Can you please?
Oh, you wasn't saying that a minute ago.
Can you please get off the vehicle?
Not until I got your name, little boy.
Can you please get off the vehicle so I could be on my way?
Call the cops.
I'm not gonna.
You don't like it. Are we clear?
No.
You don't know what an auditor is. You do now, boss.
Thank you for keeping us safe.
But as the man walks away, it appears he's not finished and continues with his ranting.
You know how close I was to a pistol shot to the head?
No.
Call the SWAT.
Thankfully, the neighbor never makes good on his threats, and the man recording is able to go about his day. But not without this reminder to think twice about his wheel-turning ways. As for the disgruntled man, at his age, he should already know that anger is never the best form of communication.
Are we clear?
No.
This next story shows just how far some neighbors will go to help one another at any cost. Fresno, California. It's the middle of the day, and an electrical fire has engulfed this house in a matter of minutes. Neighbors turn their garden hoses on the blaze, but it has no effect. As a witness films the terrifying ordeal on her cell phone, and with the fire department still minutes away, the already dire situation suddenly becomes drastically worse.
Your dad is still in there? Your dad is in there? I called 911. Is everybody out? No, there's a man in there.
An explosion from inside the house sends concerned neighbors running from the deadly inferno, with an elderly man still trapped inside.
No, there's a man inside!
As the flames grow higher and the smoke thickens, it looks as if all hope is lost.
Poppy! Oh my God! Get that!
But keep an eye on the man in the blue baseball hat. He's about to do something you won't believe. Suddenly, the hero in the blue baseball hat emerges, carrying the man who is trapped in the house over his shoulder.
Oh, thank God! Is everybody out? Oh, thank God! Everybody's out! Here he is! Is this him right here? Everybody's out! Okay. You're okay. Oh my God, where's the fire department? I called 911. You're okay. Hey, okay.
But as quickly as he appears, the hat-wearing Good Samaritan is suddenly gone without a trace. Neighbors eventually learn it is one of their own, Tom Ardiaga, who performed this miraculous rescue.
I was on my way to go do a side job and had seen an apartment complex that was on fire. A lady screaming that their dad was in the building. People were yelling for help, so I stopped and helped.
Oh, thank God!
Everybody's out!
Here he is! Is this him right here?
Everybody's out!
When I got him out and I put him down, yeah, he was struggling a little bit to breathe, and at that time I just told the girl, "Your dad's here," and I left.
After saving his neighbor, Tom left the scene because he didn't want to be lauded as a hero. The events of that day still have an effect on him.
Well, that day after I came home from doing the side work, I never told my wife, never told none of my family. My brother called us up that night, and that's when he told my wife and told my kids that.
The Fresno Fire Department arrived and eventually put out the fire, and the man who'd been trapped inside was taken to a nearby hospital and treated for smoke inhalation before being released.
I don't think I'm a hero. I just, I'll help out people. Yeah, that's in my heart. I just did what was quick instinct for a normal person to have the courage to do that. Well, my wife just said, "How come I didn't say nothing?" And I go, I didn't want all the fame. I didn't want to be on camera.
We could all use a few more neighbors like Tom Ardiaga. Now to Denver, Colorado, and a neighborly good deed that doesn't turn out how it's supposed to. It all starts in this alley in the city's arts district. A battered SUV pulls up, and the driver loads a length of scrap metal into her truck. But look closely. Something in that garage has caught her eye. She takes off, but a little later, she's back, this time on foot. And guess where she's headed? Straight for this mountain bike. Now, this could be the end of the story, but it's not. In fact, it's only the beginning for neighbor Josh Berman, whose office backs onto this alleyway.
I was on my way back to the office after lunch, and as I'm pulling into my office parking lot, I see a woman carrying 2 large mountain bike wheels out of the parking lot. It raised some red flags. It didn't look like they belonged to her, and I couldn't imagine why she would be walking out of our parking lot with these wheels. So I stopped her and I asked her if I could help her, and she looked at me, kind of got angry and said, "No, I'm just trying to get out of the parking lot." And she kind of rushes by me and starts walking down the sidewalk.
Josh doesn't know it yet, but he has just met the bike thief. And her getaway is not going to plan. The bike has 2 flats, so she's now having to haul it to her SUV piece by piece. And boy, is she pissed.
As I'm getting my phone out to start shooting her, she turns around and swings a bike wheel and actually hits me in the chest. And she's yelling and screaming. I mean, at that point, I'd kind of had enough and turned around and decided to get on with my day. And as I was walking back on the sidewalk towards my office, I actually saw a mountain bike upside down in the right-of-way in front of the office. Went up to it and could tell very quickly that it was a very expensive mountain bike, and probably the exact same mountain bike that she had just removed these wheels off of.
Josh suspects the bike is stolen, probably from a neighbor.
So I've been involved in biking my entire life. The bike was a late model Santa Cruz carbon fiber frame mountain bike, which, I mean, those are not cheap bikes. They can run anywhere from $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 and up. It's definitely the kind of bike that, nobody would probably be riding, on the streets of Denver. So I picked it up and I started walking back to my office. And as I'm rounding the corner from the sidewalk into the parking lot, catch out of the corner of my eye something coming at me, pulling into the parking lot at a super high rate of speed. I jump out of the way at the last second, just as she actually is hitting me and kind of smashes me up against a car in the parking lot. And I mean, I immediately kind of in shock. I'm trying to figure out, am I injured? The bike is lying on the ground, and she gets out of the car and starts screaming and yelling.
This is not your bike. What are you doing? Yo! You're a thief, dude. What is wrong with you?
Calling me a thief, saying I've stolen her bike, and just kind of out of her mind with a super crazed look in her eye. And at that point, I realized that she was willing to run me over, kill me to get this bike. So I leave the bike and I ran into my office and started shouting to my coworkers to call 911.
Josh then quickly returns to the parking lot, determined to capture the thief on his cell phone camera.
We walked back just to see her pulling out of the parking lot, and at that point I got my phone out again. And, I mean, you literally see scrap metal falling out of the back of this dilapidated Bronco with no plates, and she's still screaming and yelling while she's driving down the street. I mean, at that point, I kind of just considered myself lucky that I wasn't more seriously injured, and went into the office where we started looking at the security cams and saw that it was indeed our neighbor's bike that had been stolen from the alley. We went over to the neighbor's house and knocked on the door just as he was coming home, and I got to break the bad news to him that unfortunately his bike had been stolen, and showed him the footage.
Josh and his neighbor Sean, who owns the bike, have both filed complaints with the Denver police, but so far, no arrests have been made.
Law enforcement, I feel like nationwide, is not prioritizing bike theft, and obviously there are a lot of bigger and more important issues that we're all dealing with, but at the same time, people have taken it for granted that Denver is a relatively safe city, and they let their guard down. I mean, it's a problem.
Denver police suggest locking bikes, even in a locked garage, and taking a selfie next to the serial number to help officers reunite a stolen cycle with its owner. They say lightning doesn't strike twice, but it seems bad neighbors do. And Hector Martinet has already tussled with a bad neighbor or two.
Trying to rob me. Come on.
Oh, hell no.
This video catches a previous attempt at someone trying to burglarize Hector's house.
If I ever see you again, dude, oh man, you better run.
But now they're targeting his neighborhood.
You just hold on.
It's days before Christmas. Hector sees a young man taking a package off his neighbor's porch.
It's your cousins, huh? Oh yeah, you're just dropping it off, or what are you doing with it?
There's a book in it.
Yeah, let's take it over here to the owner. Come on. I know everybody in the neighborhood. I've lived there a very long time. I love my neighbors. Put the pack up there now. Put it back on the house.
The package belongs to one of his oldest neighbors, a recent widow.
That lady had just lost her husband, and it was nearing Christmas, and the son had sent that package as a book.
Hector calls the police.
I got a guy stealing packs off people's front porches. I need a unit here on 5921.
Oh, no, please don't call us.
The suspect begs Hector to let him go, but he must be new to the neighborhood.
Get the cops here right now. I definitely wasn't gonna let this go. He was not gonna victimize my neighborhood or my block. And you stand right there until I get here.
Hector worries the suspect might try and run before police arrive, and Hector is not dressed for a chase.
I'm standing here barefoot in the snow with no shirt.
To Hector's relief, another neighbor, Bob, arrives and offers Hector some help.
Hey, Bob, get on your phone too, would you?
But the suspect is getting antsy.
Stay right there, man. Sit down. I'm gonna get my dogs on you, man. Sit down or I'm gonna let the dogs out.
And once he steps off the porch, Hector resorts to plan B.
Here, Bob, hold this.
He hands the phone to his neighbor and prepares to keep him there by whatever means necessary.
You ain't big enough to sit your ass down on that porch or I'm gonna lay you out on the snow. Go. Yeah.
So Hector decides to convince him.
I got the cops on the way, buddy. It's ever me, man. I told him, you either wait for the cops or you're gonna have to deal with me. Because I'm not gonna be as nice as the cops. You ain't big enough, believe me. You hear me? You come to the wrong neighborhood.
Hector scolds the suspected porch pirate until police arrive.
What are you thinking anyway? You know what I mean? What, you Grinch? Come up in here, ruin people's Christmas shit? Man, you piss me off, dude.
The cops let the man go with just a warning, and the neighborhood's holidays are saved. Hector's heroics don't go unnoticed.
All of a sudden, now I'm getting cookies from the neighbor thanking me. I didn't really think I did anything, you know?
And to all the would-be crooks roaming around, Hector has a warning of his own.
You in the wrong neighborhood, buddy. Sit the down.
Ooh, I am pissed.
New Zealander Sasha Poldma has a problem. After returning home from work the last few days, she finds dog poop in her driveway, and it's not from her dogs.
So for like the last 3 days, I've been coming home from work and there's like dog all over my driveway. My dogs are in their kennel during the day when I'm at work or on the other side of the house. Like they don't roam. They're not roaming dogs.
To solve the mystery, Sasha sets up a camera to catch the culprit in action.
So I set my iPad up to take a video of what's been happening during the day.
And it soon becomes apparent that bad neighbors come in all shapes, sizes, and ages.
Ooh, I am pissed. The audacity
of this old bitch. This lady from next door comes with the on her shovel. And she's throwing it on my driveway.
What's even more aggravating for Sasha is that she takes pride in being a responsible dog owner herself.
Oh, look, my dog's taking a I'm about to pick it up. I don't even walk past her house. I go the other way, and I use freaking doggy bags, man. There are other dogs in this neighborhood, lady. I have a plan.
Instead of confronting her elderly neighbor, Sasha takes the high road and writes the woman a well-thought-out letter. She informs her neighbor that she's been caught on camera and that the police will soon be notified. Sasha's also sending along a little gift with a letter to return the favor.
It's like the middle of the night, and I've clipped this note to like 4 bags of that I picked up from her, and I'm going out into the dark and put them in her mailbox. I'm so scared. Yeah, you can't see anything, but I just put it in her mailbox. I can't believe I did that. That is not me. But I am so offended.
With the parcel now delivered, the following morning, Sasha's revenge plan begins to unfold.
I'm gonna see if she's got the dog food out of her mailbox yet. Okay, it's not in there. Oh my God, I'm gonna go check my camera. Here she is. So she goes to the mailbox and she picks everything up. She's like, what the hell?
Sasha's scheme has worked. But just as she begins to fill out trespassing complaint forms given to her by the police, there's one last surprise in this neighborhood war.
I'm gonna fill it out. And someone's here. Holy crap, she's at my door. Oh, hello.
Can you spare a moment?
Yeah, sure.
I am so sorry that I mean, I felt quite sick and horrible after I did. Yeah. So.
Well, you can imagine how I felt coming home. I was like, who's doing this to me? I haven't done anything.
In an unexpected twist, the neighbor gives Sasha the best of gifts, an apology. Turns out, the woman mistakenly thought Sasha's dogs were the ones relieving themselves on her property.
Really do apologize.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I honestly really appreciate that.
Maybe Sasha's onto something, and the pen is truly mightier than the sword when it comes to settling neighborhood squabbles.
I have a question. When y'all got out of the car the other day, and my old man was right here, why was y'all being rude? Because that right there made him cry all night.
Rude about what?
Laughing at him.
About what?
I don't know. Y'all were sitting, your old lady was sitting right here staring at him, and so were y'all's friends, and y'all were cracking up. When you came out, you looked at him.
Oh, no, we just got back.
Now, don't answer no stupid question.
That's not stupid. I'm just asking.
I promise you that every day I come out here from now on, I'm going to make fun of you.
Well,
I don't
just
care.
like I'm going to do you.
I don't care if you sit over there and cry yourself to sleep every night.
Well, you don't have to.
But if you don't break your over there.
I want you to put me out. I want you to do it.
Man, he can't put you in jail.
I know we
go
can't.
to hell, you son of a...
Get the hell out of this yard.
No, you put me out. You sorry.
You gonna
You do something.
Put your
If it's not already painfully obvious, these neighbors have a long history of dislike for each other.
Get the out of the yard. Get the out of here.
Put your hands on me.
Come on. Come on.
Having failed to talk his neighbor off his property, the homeowner tries a different approach.
Don't. Babe, stop. Stop, please stop. Stop. Oh my God. Please stop.
Stop.
Babe, please come here. Just stop.
Oh, really?
Get the out. Everybody's going. Go.
While it's not clear what started this particular fight, or what happened after, one thing is certain. This altercation could have been avoided if they had a nice big fence between their yards.
We call the law. You.
Behind this door, a grandmother is being yelled at by her neighbors, who are tired of her dog running around on their shared staircase.
Your dog's out here barking at my sister.
Things are calm when suddenly,
Get out of it. Get out. Get out of it.
the grandmother gets shoved backwards and nearly falls off her feet.
Call the police.
How dare you attack my grandmother?
And then you know you killed her because you keep letting the dog out here. Yeah. Don't you guys think it's time you grew up?
The neighbors are now blaming each other for every issue in their apartment complex, including a deceased pet.
We killed that
Yes. No, we didn't.
I have a full-time job. I have my kids.
The neighbors are trying to change the subject because they realize that they are being recorded. And in Arizona, shoving could be considered assault.
You just attacked her. I can't.
The two sets of neighbors continue arguing until the police later show up to cool the heated situation.
Yourself.
And even though it hasn't boiled over to pushing and shoving again, these torrid-tempered neighbors have yet to resolve their red-hot rivalry.
You don't know anything. You don't know anything.
If parking and trash issues can separately cause friction between neighbors, together, things can get very messy indeed. Like in Toledo, Ohio, where this woman is moving her neighbor's trash cans out of the way. They are blocking the parking spot in front of her house. Her neighbor doesn't think she's done anything wrong.
You don't have the right to park in front of your house. It's a public street. I can have 7 cars parked on the street. It don't matter.
And supported by her husband,
The public street.
she starts to move them right back. Not to be outdone, the woman's friend just wheels them away again.
Really overdrafting.
The woman is now trying to park.
It's not yours either.
But with both sides now locked in a standoff, tempers, like the trash cans, are about to spill over. The street winds up littered with garbage. But this trash tit for tat is not over yet. The woman in purple is determined to have the last word. Police later arrive, and this woman is fined for dumping trash illegally on the street. The neighbors no longer live next door to each other.
I don't give a You don't touch my property.
Nothing is neighbors riled up like a boundary dispute.
Don't touch my board.
Why are you reaching under my fence?
My side of the fence. You mind?
Catching a neighbor encroaching upon our property is enough to send even the most level-headed of us into a tailspin.
You're not moving this because it's not your property.
I'm not.
No, you're not. I just did.
Like the man driving this truck in Lake Cushman, Washington. He's convinced that part of his neighbor's shed is sitting on his land. And after 25 years of stewing over it, he's finally had enough. The truck driver has some choice words for his neighbor, too.
By the way, they will be charging you for this. You'll get demolition for free. If you don't like it, get a survey done.
The argument over this shed stretches back generations. It began when the neighbor's grandfather first put it here 25 years ago. The guy in the truck has always claimed that the shed extends 2 feet into his land. And now, after repeated warnings, he's decided to do something about it. This reckless act of destruction might have won the battle, but it hasn't won the war. The owner of the shed is now building a legal case against his truck-driving neighbor. So their 25-year-old feud is set to continue even longer. School sports are more than just about who wins and loses. They also allow for students to show off their school spirit. And passionately cheer on their fellow classmates. But when two neighborhood rival schools face off against each other, sometimes that school spirit doesn't go as planned. It's halftime at a Kentucky high school basketball game between two neighboring rivals. What starts off as a playful fight between the two schools' mascots, a ram and a bulldog, quickly turns into a real brawl. Rabid fans in the student section cheer wildly as the ram and bulldog trade blows near mid-court. The mascot melee spills down to the end of the court, and it appears the bulldog has the upper hand. The halftime entertainment, though, is over as quickly as it started when, who else? A teacher comes over to break up the tussle between these two neighboring mascots. So we're going to say it's a draw between the ram and the bulldog from Kentucky. This man and his neighbor have been feuding for over a year, leading to this angry exchange right on the street.
Stuff that thing up your
Go f yourself.
No.
Go f
You
yourself.
are the most disrespectful son of a
Go f yourself, Cuffy.
You have no respect for yourself.
Go f yourself, Cuffy.
I find that on and it's gonna go right up your
Go f yourself.
Yeah. Well, I already put in a complaint to the police yesterday about you.
Go f yourself.
Say it again.
Go f yourself.
Don't say it to my face, you idiot. Come on out.
Go f yourself.
Next time I see you face to face, you're the one that's gonna go f yourself.
Go f yourself.
Fortunately, the rivals don't come to blows, and both men eventually
Go f yourself.
stand down.
Go f yourself.
That's all, folks. Almost.
Go f yourself.
This is my dock here. The neighbor has started feeding the birds, dumping a bunch of bird seed in front of my dock.
Justin Schott's boat dock and his access to it is the basis of an ongoing boundary dispute. The only way Justin can get to his dock is by walking through his neighbor's property.
I guess he thinks he's being clever, trying to get all the geese to poop on my dock.
Get off my yard.
Sorry, buddy, got the legal right to be here.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
Get off my yard. You got the legal right to now.
Got the legal right to be here, buddy.
Yeah.
Boundary disputes make up nearly 20% of all fights between neighbors, but this issue is escalating way beyond that.
Off my yard.
Well, you want to play this way?
Call the police.
Call them. I have the legal right to be here.
I'm gonna call the police.
Oh, okay.
Call the cops. Call the cops. I want the cops.
I don't like the birds being fed in front of my dock there to try and piss me off and make me mad.
911.
I have the legal right to be here.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Justin believes he has an easement, which is the right to access someone else's property. In order to get to his dock, Justin has to cross through his neighbor's yard, which this neighbor clearly isn't allowing Justin to do.
Get my phone. Right now. Go get my phone. You're going to jail. You ever come across my property again, I'll kill you.
Threatening someone's life can be punishable with prison time.
Doesn't have to be like this.
This dispute is about to escalate beyond simply verbal threats.
Get off it. Push it right into the roof.
Please stop touching my golf cart. Please stop pushing the golf cart.
You're on my property, Justin.
I have the legal right to be here.
No, you don't have the legal right. You just hit me with a golf cart.
Please let me leave. Please let me leave. Please let me leave.
That physical act gives Justin cause to call the police and report an assault.
Please let me leave,
Get
Corey.
off my yard. Stay off. Don't ever bring that thing on my yard again. Don't ever bring it on my yard again.
Later, the police come and fill out a report. As of this taping, charges have yet to be filed.
How you like that?
And the dispute between these neighbors rages on.
It's assault and I'm pressing charges. You're on video.
You're going to jail.
It's 1:30 a.m. Do you know where your neighbor is? Unfortunately, this Utah family does, after they wake up to the sound of their neighbor revving his car in an open garage. According to the woman recording this video, her neighbor's racket is nothing new. However, this time she wants proof for the police. And tonight, she captures more than just a noise complaint.
No, I'm just sitting here videoing him. Oh, you just got caught on video. I'm calling the police, you pieces of What are you doing?
The man then tries to rationalize his behavior, saying his kids are hungry.
I can't start my car to go to the gas station.
Well, since you just vandalized my house, you piece of
I can't start my car to go to the gas station.
You know what? We have asked you 900 times.
You car to go to the gas station to get the kids a snack without you messing.
Ticked off, the woman and her husband go outside to plead with their neighbor. Seen here on the building security camera. But their appeals fall on deaf ears, and the racket continues. Unfortunately for the couple, as well as those within earshot, the neighborhood feud continues to rage on with no end in sight.
Someone's messing with your signs.
Annoyed that neighbors keep stealing his chosen candidate's campaign signs, this homeowner is ready to defend his turf, paintball style.
Got the bait pile all filled up with bait, ready to go. Got the old gun ready to go. Come try and steal my again.
Lying in wait for hours, the homeowner watches over his lawn, paintballs primed and ready for action. When the sneaky sign bandits make their move, they get the message loud and clear to keep their hands to themselves. Apparently, not everyone in the neighborhood has heard about this homeowner's tenacity towards protecting his property. For another neighbor attempts to steal the signs the very next night.
What the
And he also receives a barrage of paintballs. So remember, when it comes to lawn signs, to paraphrase our 44th president, don't steal, vote.
I see him running. Out of here.
Huffman is a rural community about an hour northeast of Houston, and it's where Sam Parks and his family have called home for more than 30 years.
My family was one of the first few families out on this road. Our neighbors are about as an equal mix of Americans as anybody could ever hope to get.
But it turns out trouble has been brewing next door for decades.
This feud has been going on with my neighbor now for 22 years.
Even though his original feud was with an older generation, Sam finds himself still clashing with their kids.
He's gonna lay my ass out, you hear that?
What started in the early 90s as an argument in the woods has now become near daily fights that are triggered by almost anything.
You was in your travel trailer.
What are you gonna do?
And I come outside.
Talking
you way over here.
Every time you come out to talk about me and trigger me,
That's the Dunning effect. That's when somebody's so stupid they don't know how dumb they are.
Some of their most frequent fights are started because of the neighbors' dogs.
when they got their puppies, I expressed to my neighbor's husband, there's a leash law in Texas. You have to contain your animal.
You better if you kept them dogs put up like the leash law requires you to.
He got mad and bucked up and said, well, look, if you've got a problem with it, you just call the dog pound. And so we did. And the dog pound came and gave them a warning. The next day, they took that warning, tore it up, and threw it in our yard.
After the animal control incident, the neighbors decide to step up their technology in this neighborhood war.
My daughter came and told me that my neighbor was installing cameras, and she knew from the location that it would be a problem.
And as you can tell, it's pointed directly into our yard. How up is that? So why are you pointing cameras directly in my yard?
Her placing that camera was just disgusting.
You have to invade my yard. No, I'm not invading your yard. Yeah, what's your camera showing? Right?
It shows you acting like...
Right into my daughter's window.
With the neighbors pointing multiple cameras directly into his yard, Sam comes to the conclusion the cameras are only there to rile him up.
And so this is how you go with people.
The camera vantage point that she put up there was to instigate my anger. It was to draw my ire. I'm seeing war crimes, neighborhood war crimes.
With verbal threats and camera surveillance escalating, events come to a head at the fence line with his neighbor's uncle.
He was calling me out.
Come on, parasite! Talk some
When I walked over there, I knew where that incident could end up. That had already been calculated.
The neighbors yell back and forth at one another when suddenly the uncle has heard enough.
You want to come out in the yard?
I'm right here, bitch!
No, you want to come out of your yard?
For what? I can hear you. You're so stretched out. I can hear you. What do you need to say? Oh, real cool, bud.
Yeah, like kids do.
Come on, Brick. Yeah, that's what you can do.
Since the wire shelf showdown, Sam has continued to record his neighbor's antics for his own safety, but he sees no end in sight to this long-standing feud.
Do I see a way for peace? Peace would be a for sale sign. Peace would be an open house next door. I have an allergy to those people. There's no amount of Benadryl that will cure my allergy. Only solution is they move.
You got y'all on video.
Worried?
No, I ain't worried.
You need to be.
Can you shut up and let's end this?
The city of Maricopa, Arizona lies in the middle of the Sonoran Desert, and for recent resident Dustin Petter, it's the perfect oasis for making a fresh start with his family.
I have lived here for 5 years now, and I would definitely consider this an all-American neighborhood. Everyone waves at each other as they drive by.
While Dustin and his family may enjoy the small-town living, not everyone is greeting them with a wave.
What are you recording? You don't have permission to record us.
Dustin has previously called the police on his neighbor for making aggressive comments towards him. All of this stems back to when they first met.
I noticed a guy throwing some garbage away. I didn't recognize him, and I asked him if he could not use those dumpsters, and he gave me a pretty dirty look and told me he lived here. And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize."
This simple misunderstanding has grown into a feud lasting years, and has gotten so bad, Dustin now calls his neighbor the bully.
I was driving around the loop to come back to my house. Just as I was coming around the corner, the bully was backing out of his driveway. I saw him look right at me. He started to pull forward, but he was driving very slow, almost walking speed, it seemed like. And he was doing it on purpose, I'm sure, just to aggravate me. But I thought, no big deal. I've got my son in the back seat in his car seat, and I just want to get home. Finally, we get to my house, and I'm about to turn into the driveway, and he stops.
Say something.
And now I have to cut the steering wheel a little sharper to clear the corner of his car to pull into the driveway. But I was feeling uneasy. What was he going to do? He did end up getting out of his vehicle, and he started walking towards my truck.
You trying to hit me? You hear me?
So with my son being in the car, I did fear for the life of my son.
Go back to San Bernardino. Go back to San Bernardino.
It was kind of a racial put down, but it scared me when he said that, because I thought, wow, he knows I came from San Bernardino. He knows that much about me, so he did his research on me.
Dustin once again reports the man to local authorities, but the harassment doesn't stop there.
I was pulling away from my house to go check my mail, had to go past the bully's house. So I was driving towards his direction, and his car was facing towards me with the high beams on. Just as I was about to pass his car, he stepped out into the street right in front of my truck.
Trying to hit me? Better call cop.
Yes! He pulls out his cell phone and he calls 911.
Yeah, he has a gun. Yeah. He's sitting here right in front of me.
Then he told the dispatcher that I had pulled a gun out on him, which I obviously did not. I think, unbeknownst to the bully, I had a dash cam and everything was caught right there on video. So I figured, you go ahead, you give them your story, the truth will all come out. It's caught on video. Sure enough, I was exonerated from any of those claims that the bully had made, and he ended up getting in trouble.
Police charged the neighbor with filing a false claim and blocking traffic on the road.
After that incident, unfortunately, it wasn't the end of it. There were a few minor incidents that had taken place after that one.
Can you stop blocking traffic?
Yeah, it's blocking our path. I'm gonna go ahead and call the police. We're out here playing baseball, and he decided to sit outside facing us and heckle us, insults about us, me and my 7-year-old son.
Despite the neighbor's petty bullying, Dustin and his family still embrace their community.
We love our neighbors. We have great neighbors here. It's just a tight-knit little neighborhood. I love the fact that my family lives in small town USA. We can call on our neighbors to help out if there's ever another incident.
There are neighborhood beefs.
What? Have you been throwing these in my yard? No.
And then there are neighborhood wars. 22-year-old student and Pittsburgh native Maya Nickens knows all too well about the latter after her seemingly friendly and longtime neighbor does the unexpected.
The neighborhood I live in is a cul-de-sac that is extremely secluded. For the most part, it is as quiet as a church. I actually grew up here, so I know everyone, I know their kids, we all went to school together, we all played together.
But while attending an online college class after a day full of work, her peaceful neighborhood turns ugly.
So I got home about 5 minutes before my class started. Hurry up, parked my car, run in the house. About an hour and a half later, and my neighbor drives up. Her van is in front of my car, both looking at each other. And she starts laying on her horn for about 5 minutes.
Maya's car is parked legally, but the neighbor oddly has issues with her parking job.
I look out the window. Why is she laying on her horn like this? And then she stopped, walked down her driveway, disappeared for maybe 2 minutes. And I just felt in my soul something was wrong. And she starts to walk up with that flat shovel. I immediately started to panic because I had no idea what this lady was gonna do. And takes the first swing at my windshield and screams, "Get the car!" And continues to land about 7, 8, 9 blows to the windshield. Hits the front bumper, hits the sunroof. Get the car! It felt like I was in a nightmare. The only thing I could think to do was call the police because I've never been in any type of situation like this before. I've never even gotten a speeding ticket, so I didn't know what to do. And then my mother came downstairs out of her bedroom and opened up the front door. And I'm like, "Mom, I need you to shut the door now."
The unprovoked and violent attack causes over $10,000 of damage to Maya's treasured vehicle.
I was filled with rage. Something I wanted my whole life, worked from the ground up, 18 years old. This was something I held as my prized possession, being destroyed with every swing by this lady. I could not stop crying because all I thought about was, how am I going to get to work to support myself if I don't have a vehicle? This vehicle has opened so many doors for me in my life, and it was just taken away.
Thankfully, Maya's insurance company covers the $10,000 in damages. Her neighbor is charged with 2 misdemeanor counts in order to attend anger management classes. What's more, the attack still leaves Maya uneasy.
I don't go outside anymore unless I'm leaving. They glare at us when we're outside. Family's been here for 23 years and we're here to stay. This is our home, this is our neighborhood, and we are not gonna let some people make us feel like we're unwelcomed in our own home. And if they come on our side of the property, we will call the police and have them for trespassing.
Little Egg, New Jersey is a small, laid-back township on the Atlantic Ocean, where Eliza and Brad Rhodes relocate from the city with Brad's parents.
Brad and I and Brad's parents all moved down together. It was a new start, living on the water. It's a small shore town, so people have lived here generation after generation. We thought this was the perfect neighborhood until we met our next-door neighbors. Our neighbors are an older couple who have lived here for over 40 years.
According to Eliza, the first warning sign is when the neighbors make an unusual complaint.
They didn't like the smell of our dryer sheets because our vent faces the side of their house. So we went out and bought dryer balls because we're trying to accommodate because we're the new family in town.
And then whatever it was, they would pick out the next thing.
In the following months, the neighbors become more antisocial. So Eliza and Brad start to record them, and it only adds to the weirdness when the neighbor starts cackling at them.
She sounds like a witch.
Even though the neighbor is taking pictures of Brad and Eliza, she is annoyed that they are recording her. So one day, when Brad is in the front yard, her husband launches a verbal attack.
Head in the ground, you piece of.
You will? Is that all stand?
Stalker!
Stand?
Stalker!
What's the matter?
Stalker! That's you!
You're crazy.
Yeah, you're crazy. Then what are you doing with the phone? Get the phone out of here.
So now you hit.
Yeah, it hits you piece.
When it became physical, it took it to a whole other level. Once that line was crossed, we were afraid. We didn't know where the next step was gonna go.
But what happens next is worse than Eliza and Brad could ever imagine. Eliza Rhodes is shocked that her neighbors have gone online, discovered she has a criminal record from years ago for buying and possessing drugs, and are using this information to harass her.
I was a heroin addict, and I did whatever I had to do to get the next one. And then got sober, met Brad, got sober.
Felons.
Eliza has now been drug and alcohol free for 8 years.
You're felons. You're felons.
And works to help others in recovery, so she finds her neighbors' taunts tough to take.
I feel very judged, actually tearing up. It was actually really hard to hear every single day all of these horrific things I had done while in my addiction.
And the insults only get worse.
You made me sick to look at you. When I see you, I want to throw the up.
This is what the neighborhood has to put up with.
It would be daily. They would yell constantly.
Are you drunk? Are you high?
Shut up.
You. Yeah. Hank. Look at that pushkin face. Incestuous.
Eliza and Brad report their neighbors to the police.
Just give me your driver's license number. I will issue your
But the neighbors also call the cops with wild claims of their own that are untrue.
We got investigated for running a meth house,
Elder abuse.
holding someone hostage in the house, and literally the cops were on this street every single day.
But just as Eliza and Brad are in the process of taking the neighbors to court, suddenly everything changes. After 3.5 difficult years,
You're a stupid.
they get the welcome news that their neighbors
You deserve to be in
You almost hit me.
are relocating to a different state. They don't know why, but they're just happy that they're gone.
Since our neighbors have moved, Brad and I will go out back and sit in the hammock at night and look at the stars, and we couldn't do that before. Couldn't enjoy the yard. Couldn't enjoy the water. Today we can.
If you're stupid, you belong in a nursing home. Because you got dementia.
If I could say anything to my neighbors, I would say, 1, you reap what you sow. 2, karma. The third thing I would say is, we didn't give up as a family, and we won.